Hey friends, welcome back. Happy New Year to you. I want to give a little trigger warning to this episode because this could be a little heavy for some people. If you are someone like me who is in the stage of unknown, or someone that is in the stage of knowing and not knowing what to do next, or someone that is in the stage of knowing and has taken action and is now in a position like our guest today, Jade, is in spreading awareness around this. Um, so just again, I wanted to give that warning. Just this episode could be a little heavy, it could get a little emotional. And so take action, do what you need to do to resource yourself, and come back to this another time if you need to. If you feel like you're good, you're ready to dive in, feel prepared, then keep listening.
I'm Rachel, and you're listening to the Owning Your Sexual Self podcast.
I have Jade on with me today, and I reached out to Jade in December, and she is actually a friend of mine. She went to high school with my cousin, and so I've known Jade for a pretty long time. And recently, she's been sharing on her social media her personal journey of going through genetic testing and realizing that she has a genetic mutation called and feel like I'm saying this right, I might be saying it wrong. We'll find out when she gets on here, but the BRCA gene. And this is the highest known gene that contributes to breast cancer. So your likelihood and your probability of getting breast cancer if you carry this gene is fairly high. And from what I know, then there is a level two to this, another genetic mutation, I guess BRCA2 perhaps, or type 2. She'll get into more detail around it. But that is another gene that increases that chance of um, breast cancer even more. So, a little bit about Jade before she jumps on with us today. So, Jade is a dedicated career woman, a wife, a mother who just over a year ago received this life-changing news. She does carry the BRCA2 genetic mutation. And this revelation for her really set her on a journey of discovering and diving deep into the world of genetic mutations, cancer prevention, and the cutting edge work being done by doctors, researchers, and specialists. Jade is a person, again, I've known her for a long time. Jade is a person that if she has her mindset on something, like she is going to do it. She's jumping all in. She's somebody that is very passionate, very vocal about what she believes in. You'll see when she comes on, like just her personality, like she's a bold woman. And so this newfound knowledge has empowered her to become a passionate advocate for better access to preventative screenings, pushing for changes in insurance policies that can often stand in the way of life-saving care. That's actually one of my questions. I've been somebody that's interested in getting genetic testing done, and I'm like, I feel like I've almost like self-sabotaged a little bit of like not even looking into it. Does insurance cover it? Is this out of pocket? Like, what is the process? What does it even look like? Um, so we're going to jump into all of this today. And again, Jade aims to really educate and inspire not only women, but men as well, shedding light on the reality of living with a genetic mutation and the importance of early detection. She is determined to empower others with the knowledge they need to take control of their health and make informed decisions about their future. So I'm excited. She just popped into the waiting room, so I will let her in and let's dive into this episode, right? And I love too, she talks about this like being a part of the worst club with the best members. So I think anybody that has gone through any sort of, cancer diagnosis, oftentimes they'll put you up with support groups and stuff, and the people that you meet there, the relationships that you can create by connecting with somebody that is going through something similar to you can be really, really empowering. So anyways, let's let her in. I'm excited to get into her story. And again, buckle up, resource yourself, do what you need to do. All right. Welcome to the show, Jade. Thanks so much for coming on. You and your booby shirt. I love it.
I'm like, thank you. I had to wear it for the occasion.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love shirts like that too, because right, like breasts, vulvas, they all look so different. There's no two are the same.
Right. Nipples down, nipples up. Like, we got
Yes.
it all.
Yeah, even on the own body, like I always say, my right boob is bigger. I would call it the right titty takeover. I'm like, even in my own body, they look different.
Exactly. Like they're cousins, not sisters. Like,
Yes. So true. So true. All right. So we're diving in. Again, we gave a trigger warning to those people that were listening because I was saying like this can be a heavier topic if you're someone like me who is in that state of unknown and like maybe has some curiosity around it, or you're hearing about this for the first time for people that are listening. Some that maybe have the information and aren't really sure what next steps, and then people like you that have the information, you're the activist around it, you're advocating, like you're all in at this point. So I'm excited to hear your story. As we said, like everybody's story is different, but I love bringing people onto the show for them to share their story because I find that in every guest I've had, like something is relatable, and there's always some nugget that people can take away from the show. So thank you again for coming on and being so vulnerable about this.
yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I know like you see my social posts and stuff, and honestly, since I've found out about this, I've been a complete open book for that very reason. Like I didn't know
Mhm.
about this until it was at my front door. So if I can help somebody with this, like that makes it all worth it.
Mhm. And as you said, this has been about a year for you, right? That you found this out and have been figuring this out, right? Like on this journey.
Yeah, I found out I had the BRCA gene in November. So
Okay.
wow, that's crazy timing. It has been a little bit over a year now.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into your story, if that's okay. So again, this, as you said, it showed up on your doorstep. You had no idea that this was a thing. How did this even come about for you?
Yeah, so we had a family member that had ovarian cancer. She beat it, thank God. But with that, her doctors decided, hey, let's move forward with genetic testing because ovarian cancer tends to be something that pops up with BRCA and some other genetic mutations as well. She got the test, sure enough, positive for the BRCA2. So she essentially reached out to all of our family saying, hey, I have this genetic mutation and it's something that our family could have. So we all essentially got these packets saying, here's how to get free genetic testing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and which is awesome that it was a free cost because this is something that can be a cost to people. It's
Mhm.
not always free for everybody. So the fact that we got it free was a blessing in itself.
Mhm.
So it gives you a paper that says call this number, right? And so very daunting because you're like, okay, now let me call to see what my quote future is with this mutation. Did the calls and then ended up finding a genetic counselor actually at Corewell, Dearborn, which I'm
Hmm.
very familiar with. I think a lot of
Perfect.
us
Yeah.
are. Like, yeah, I was like, oh, I know exactly where that is. Went to the genetic mutation like specialists essentially, so the genetic counselors, and it's a blood draw. So it's something pretty simple. They just take your blood, send it out for tests. And when I did go, that was something to navigate as well was do I want to do a full panel, which is a ton of different genetic mutations, or do I only want to do BRCA testing?
Mm-hmm.
Very personal decision for everyone. I decided to not do the full panel because it just seemed a lot, right? Like it just seemed overwhelming to learn of other things that maybe I couldn't help.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want that knowledge, but of course I was there for BRCA, so I did get the BRCA test. That was the worst like couple of weeks ever, just waiting.
Yeah.
The anxiety was so real. I was at home, got the call, and they politely told me I have the mutation. Lost it
Wow.
completely. Like, definitely want to be real about that. I wasn't immediately like, all right, let me figure this out. I
Yeah.
completely broke down. Called Miguel, my husband first, said it saying like I have it. He immediately came home from work, called my mom, called my dad, and they all basically rallied, right? Like we knew this was something that could happen, but the fact that it was positive did throw me for a loop. When you have a mutation, you have a 50-50 chance of passing it down. So this family member was not my parent. So to me, and the genetic counselor too, when we did the pedigree, my chances were pretty low to have the mutation. So I was kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I have this chance. So, and then I found out BRCA2. They went through a lot of information on the call that I honestly can't even remember. And they even said that. They were like, we're going to tell you some stuff that you're probably not going to remember because this is a lot to intake. But
Mm-hmm.
then when you are ready, here's our number to call us back and come back in, and we go from there. So that's kind of what I'm doing since, right? Like going to different specialists now, working with the genetic counselor office, who was great. Like shout out to them. They've given me tons of resources and the specialists to go to. So now that's my life, right? Like finding different specialists, figuring out what I'm doing, and just telling people about it too. Because I literally had no idea what this was until it was time to go get tested myself.
Mhm. Yeah, and that seems interesting too, just because I'm thinking about the timeline, like, was this during COVID and that's why it was over the phone? It just seems like that was something that probably could have been better delivered in person. Granted, right, if you get the call, like, we need you to come in, right? You would have been freaking the
That
fuck out.
sucks too.
Yeah, but I don't know, just
It was weird.
alone, like,
I
gosh.
know. It's so funny you say that, Rachel, because the call itself felt odd, right?
Yeah,
And
like,
you have
is
to
this
remember,
real?
right? Like this is so kind of impersonal, but this is their job. Like I don't like every person's different how they feel emotions, and me telling somebody that they have this might hit different than somebody that's been living their lives in genetic counseling. Because it felt weird. It was basically like, hey Jade, like, how are you doing? And I was like, fine, like, come on. I'm not here to like chit chat. And then they were just like, so we did get the results back. You have the genetic mutation, and I was just like, douche, blackout. Like, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like, I don't hear anything else you're saying right now. And of course I started crying, and they seemed a little awkward that I was crying, probably because they're like not there to console you in person. And
Yeah.
they were just like, do you need anything else? And I was like, what would I need right now? Like, I need to call my mom. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow,
so,
what a shit job, right? It's likely some intern, like some young person probably, and they're like, here, you do. God.
here's your positive test result. Good luck with your future.
Yeah.
But again, like once I went in and got all the information, which is overwhelming in itself, like usually that's the next step is you have like a meeting with them
Yeah.
about like, hey, here's all these facts and figures about what this means, because I didn't want to Google stuff before I even knew. Like, I just didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of like seeing the things until it was my reality. So when they did tell me it was my reality, I still was kind of like, well, shit, like,
Mhm.
do I for sure mean get ovarian cancer? Because again, that was the cancer that we learned about in our family. Lo and
Yeah.
behold, there's more than just ovarian with genetic,
Yeah.
hence my shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot. But they were very helpful once I went in and went through all the paperwork and went through the facts and figures and stuff like that.
hmm Yeah, and just so we can provide a little education to people, so there's BRCA and BRCA2, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And both, it could mean ovarian or breast cancer for both of them?
Yes. So BRCA1 and BRCA2, essentially BRCA are genes that we all have that help us fight cancer. So when they're mutated, that means you have less help to fight those cancers, which is again something I didn't even know. I thought BRCA was something that you inherit, but it's BRCA genes we all have. They help you from preventing cancer. It's the mutation of them that don't help anymore.
Okay.
So if you have one of the mutations, you're most likely to get a couple of different cancers for BRCA1 and BRCA2. Basically, the difference between the two is the percentage chance. It's essentially pretty much the same cancers. It's just BRCA has a higher percent rate for most cancers. So for my BRCA, so BRCA2, I have about a 70% chance of getting breast cancer within my lifetime. And I like to preface that because usually percentages go up within, so like basically my chances of having cancer go up and up each time I get older. Like, so each kind of like decade, it kind of like goes up. And so at that most, it's 70%. And then roughly, and again, it just depends where you're getting your facts and figures, but roughly 30 to 40% for ovarian cancer. And again, these are always loose because different things come into consideration. Lifestyle, family history. So there are things that can make it maybe you are a higher chance, maybe you're on the lower scale of it. So breast and ovarian are both like the top cancers for both BRCA1 and BRCA2. But then there is other cancers underneath that I just have to be aware of and do screenings for, such as pancreatic cancer is another one. So that's like about a 10% chance for pancreatic, prostate, and even increased chance for melanoma. So I
Wow.
even now get skin checks done, and melanoma is on the lower side, but nonetheless, I am a very type A person. So
Hmm.
as soon as I saw the list, I was like, I'm going to specialist for each of these.
Hmm.
But the highest chance of cancers for both BRCA1, BRCA2 is breast.
Hmm. Yeah. It's funny that you said that because when I was recording your intro, I'm like, Jade is the type of person that is like all in. Like, if she's passionate about something, she's like no stone unturned. Like, she's going to figure it out and like you're going to hear about it.
It's so true. It's so true. Even my doctors were like, oh my God, like with all the stuff that I've done already. And I'm like, hey
Yeah.
man, whatever I can do to beat this stuff, man.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. But again, like just to normalize having that initial reaction of dissociating and like, what the fuck, right? Like you needed that time to process and to grieve in a way. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, right, the grieving process is still continuing for you because I'm sure that, that's coming up in waves as is one thing after another, right? Like one visit leading up, waiting for the results, like waiting for the other testing. You're going through procedures now. Like, God, what just a mind fuck I'm assuming that is for you.
Yeah. No, and it's funny you bring that up. Like that's like another piece to this is when people have genetic mutations, you choose what you want to do, right? Like,
Hmm.
thank God I'm what's called a previver. So I learned that term in all of my support groups and things that I've attended. So somebody that has a genetic mutation but hasn't had cancer yet is called a previver. So coined the term previver. I was like, okay, so that's what I am, a previver. There's some previvers that choose just to do the screening, and that's completely fine. This is all personal choices. There is no right and wrong way to attack this. So there's some people that might say, I don't want to move forward with surgery. I don't want to move forward with XYZ, but that means you need to do additional screens. And you just said it. The anxiety is too real. Like
Yeah.
there's no way. I've already had just 1 year under my belt with this and doing tons of screens. I have to screen my ovaries and my breast, and I have to do it twice a year for my breast, and I should do it twice a year for my ovaries. And if I have any pain in my like ovary area, like I should go in and get it checked, and then you're waiting again. Like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh. And ironically, before I even found out I had the gene, I had pain in my like left like armpit and a little bit into my breast. And I
Hmm.
went to my OB and they were like, something feels a little off. Like, we're going to send you for a mammogram. So, of course, I was like freaked out and
Hmm.
got my mammogram. I have dense breast, which is again something that makes you high risk too for breast
Hmm.
cancer, but nothing was found. And then I kid you not, it was a couple of months later that I found out about BRCA gene. And so I already had a taste of like a scare and a screen. And now I find out I'm high risk and I was like, yeah, there's no way that I could just test and wait for years. Like I just personally couldn't do it, but there are people that choose to do that.
Hmm. Yeah. And the alternative to not doing that is mastectomy, correct?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing. Like,
Yes.
so I will get a prophylactic double mastectomy that's nipple sparing on January 8th. So I will be getting a
Wow.
mastectomy then. I know, crazy. That is already coming up. And I'll do reconstruction. So that's another personal choice for people. So people
Mhm.
don't do reconstruction, completely fine. There's people that do implants, and then there's what I'm getting, which is called a deep reconstruction. So like it's an acronym, or you can call it like autologous. And so they're essentially taking my stomach and putting it in my breast. And it's not like lipo. So some people try to like they think of it as like lipo, like sucking and kind of placing. It's
Mhm.
more so like a puzzle, like
Hmm.
taking and placing in my breast. Um, that came with all its own different things that I had to do, like CT scans and make sure everything's like fine there and all that good stuff. I had one surgery already on my breast, and it was basically to prep them for my mastectomy because I did want to do nipple sparring. That was something I did want to do. I wanted to try to keep my nipple. Again, it's a personal choice for a lot of people.
Mhm.
But to do that, the chance of survival of a nipple from a mastectomy is very chancy. They're very sensitive. They need good blood flow, and obviously, when you do a mastectomy, that's messing with all that.
Mhm.
So we basically prep my breast in the best position possible so that when I do this surgery, hopefully I can save my nipple.
Mhm.
So that's gonna be another thing, right? Like, I'm gonna get this surgery hoping for one outcome, but I have to mentally prepare for numerous things that can
Yeah.
happen. And one of them is my nipple. Like, I hope I can save them, but it's definitely not a promised thing.
Hmm. Wow. So just, yeah, the heaviness of all this, the decision making, the waiting, the unknown.
I know.
Yeah, and I know you're not alone in this. Like, yet you have support groups, you talk about like the community that you're involved in, and how helpful has that been for you, just like having others going through this?
Rachel, I cannot even begin to describe like
Yeah.
what a saving grace that is. Call out for FORCE. So it's like acronym FORCE, Facing Hereditary Cancer Empowerment. It was the first group that I joined, and I believe I found it through my genetic counselor. Again, it was kind of a whirlwind of how I found all my resources, but I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
that's where I got it from. And there's like different support groups. And so there's support groups for your own genetic mutation. So it could be like just BRCA.
Nice.
It could be like for all the other genetic mutations as well. It could be Previvor. It could be Survivor, things like that as well. And that's how I found people to start. Like I joined one night. I'll never forget it. I was literally sitting in this room. I was very nervous. I was like, first day of school vibes, like just kind of like they're gonna know each other and I don't know them. Like I'm new. Of course, they welcome me with open arms, one of the coolest groups of people. And they taught me like Previvor and they taught me that there's options and that you don't have to get surgery. And a lot of the women in there have already had cancer, so they were survivors. So hear their stories too was kind of enlightening for me because it's like I don't want to have to be a survivor. I hopefully can stay like on the Previvor side. And they told me, did you know that Force like holds a conference each year? And I was like, I have to go. You know, like again, type A of me was like, give me
Mhm.
all the resources. And I actually ended up getting a scholarship to go. So I got to go for free. I
Awesome.
just had to like pay for my flight there. Um, and it was honestly like nothing less than amazing. There was like networking and breakout sessions. And the networkings honestly were probably the most impactful because that's where I was meeting women that were like just like me, like BRCA2
Yeah.
Previvor. And it was like, oh my God, like, what are you doing or what have you done? And then there was one night that I'll never forget, and it was a mastectomy show and tell. So
Yeah.
it was a woman, like if you were attendee, you could show and tell your mastectomy. So
Hmm.
there's like a sectioned off area within our, like in the conference hall, and you can just go in there and women had just like in a doctor's office, like they either had it on or they had it off depending on like their comfortability, and you could just literally see what they've gotten done. So
Hmm.
there was women that got what I'm going to do. There was women that went flat. There was tattooed nipples. There was beautiful just mural tattoos. There were no
Hmm.
nipples. There was flat. Like, and I just literally get to see in person my options, which was honestly just like the best thing I could have ever seen. And all the women were so open about how the healing was, like how they felt. Like some were even like, you can touch if you want, like that had implants, like to see how they
Hmm.
felt. Like, and I was just, I mean, I left there like calling Mig, like, this was so cool. Like, this was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
enlightening. Like, I feel so much more prepared just having these people in my back pocket. Because now, even online, the community that I've grown of just people that have had different mastectomies, had cancer, not had cancer, is pretty
Hmm.
vast. Which is why I share too, because I'm like, if I didn't have like those resources or those people to talk to, it would have felt so lonely.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what inspired me. Like the other day when you were posting, you went for your first procedure, right? And you posted the picture and then all the screenshots of people that are reaching out and you shared those on your story. And I'm like, wow, like you are really, really like putting the outreach out there. Like you're helping so many people just by sharing your own story. And that's my intention for this podcast too, especially it's majority women that listen to the show all over the world, right? This isn't just a Michigan based thing by any means. As you said, like they have a conference around this, like there are resources out there. And yeah, and you got a scholarship for that. That's really cool.
That always helps when you don't have to pay for it, that's for sure. And it was pretty amazing to me how many messages I was getting. But at the same time, it almost wasn't shocking me because I was like, yeah, like I didn't know about this
Mhm.
either. So if I saw someone that I knew from school that was like hey, I have this thing, and you know somebody in your family that's had breast cancer or had ovarian cancer, I would too be like, hey, like, can you tell me
Mhm.
a little bit more about this, or what does this mean? And so I was so thankful that you invited me on this podcast, because today I even got a question saying like, how did you get tested, or where did you get tested? And I'm like, it'd be nice if I had a podcast to like send forward and
Mhm.
say like, hey, here you go. Here's like my story and like how I found it. Because
Yeah.
everyone's journey is like different with this. And I'd like to stress too that it's not like cancer was prominent in our family either.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
so it kind of like quote doesn't matter. Like obviously you're not just getting a genetic test to get one, but
Yeah.
it took one family member for us to get this information. And
Mhm.
there's people that they're like, oh, my mom, my grandma, and great grandma all have breast cancer. And to me, I'm immediately like, yes, like please go get genetically
Mhm.
tested, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So if somebody were to, let's say myself, for example, to my knowledge, breast cancer does not run in our family on either side. So if I were to go into my doctor and say, hey, I want to get genetic testing for the BRCA gene, like my doctor's probably going to look at me. I know been saying this for a fucking year. I need a new PCP, but I know he's going to be like, why would you do that, young hypochondriac woman? Like, like tell me why this is important to you. And like, I just want to be like, because I want it, like, because I
Yep.
want to know. But again, that's where you probably jump through the hoops of like insurance probably isn't going to cover it because I'm batshit crazy. Like there's no reason I should be getting this test.
Right.
I'm not even sure like what out of pocket cost looks like for something like that. Maybe you have some knowledge on that, but yeah. So essentially, like anybody can go and do this, but what's the pushback
Anyone
they're going to
can.
get?
Like
Yeah.
anyone can for sure. And it's the money side, right? Like, and it's
Hmm.
going to be different for every person, like, because there's different places that you can get genetic testing through. So I'm sure cost even varies on like where you're going. And there's cost differences between if you were to go do like a full panel test
Hmm.
or just for a specific one. Thankfully, I got mine free, so I didn't have to experience any type of cost. But I know that's been a barrier for people, which pisses me off. Like I'd
Hmm.
love to
Hmm.
get on my high horse about insurance coverages and all that stuff, because to me it's bullshit. I think
Yeah.
everyone should be able to get a blood draw and get information about their own genetics fairly easily, but it's all about money. I think we could go on a
Hmm.
whole tangent about that.
Yeah.
But so if you want to get it, like you can, it's just about what can you take on for out of pocket cost, because
Hmm.
it will cost something. But if you have somebody that's a direct family member that has cancer, tell them that they should get genetic tested. Like,
Hmm.
because that usually is something that will, I'm sure, is covered completely. I didn't ask my family member. And then if it does come back positive, they should be able to get the family members free testing. Um,
Okay.
so that's like how we got it, was essentially it's like a letter. It was like a letter saying like, here's your like golden ticket
Wow.
to go get genetic tested. But also, I mean, if there is a family line of different cancers like ovarian, prostate, and I like to stress this isn't just women, like men can get breast cancer
Yeah.
too, like, you know, and so if anyone had those type of cancers, bring it up to your OB, like talk to your OB about it, or your PCP, like just talk to somebody
Hmm.
about it, because
Hmm.
obviously there's a heightened chance if there is already that cancer in it. But I mean, anyone can get genetic testing. It's just about if you want to pay for it.
Hmm. Hmm. And I want to talk a little bit about the full panel because it's not just a cancer test, right? Like there's other things on either this panel or a full panel, correct? So things like
Yes.
Parkinson's or Hodgkinson's or dementia, Alzheimer's, like all those things, like if those would be on a full panel.
Exactly. So one of the most famous ones most recently is Chris Hemsworth. So Chris
Oh,
Hemsworth got genetic tested. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. It's like APOE 4 gene mutation. And so he has a very high chance of having Alzheimer's.
wow.
So Chris Hemsworth, he like noted, like everyone's been talking about how he kind of took time away. And
Hmm.
because he found out this information and just wanted to take some more time like with his family, and talked about just different things that you can do to help it, right? So something like
Hmm.
Alzheimer's, it's not like we can necessarily prevent it, like we can a
Right.
mastectomy, right? Like where you can try to cut off the source essentially. But there's things that all of us can do to just lessen our chance of cancer in general, like genetic mutation or not. I try to adapt a lot of those in my life recently, like moving my body every day, whether it's a slow walk or a fast walk, inside, outside. Some like weight bearing exercises is huge because if you end up with cancer, like your joints are going to feel it, your bones are going to feel it. With myself, like if I end up moving forward with like ovary removal at some point, like that puts you into menopause. Bone structure, bone health is very important with that. So like I'm already taking vitamin D so that way I can prep my body for if I move forward with that side. Eating good, right? I think if you're on the internet at all, you're seeing just like some shit that's in our foods, like being conscious of trying to be cleaner eater, trying not to drink a lot. Like I'm not saying over here, like you have to be sober. I'm definitely not, but like with moderation, right? Like just treating your body well, because that's all going to help cancer, like genetic mutation or not. Like we have to take care of our bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, that's and I think too, given what you were saying, and I'm curious now to look up the Chris Hemsworth thing because I just had that conversation with my husband this morning. Like my thought around this is like dementia, and it runs in my family on my mom's side, like pretty heavily. And my mom is starting to show signs. I'm like, it's scary, right? She's 60, not even 65. And so I'm like, I've been toying around with the idea of like one, her getting tested. She won't, but I would I'm like, I would like to. And but then that's what my conversation this morning, I'm like, it's so it, as you were saying, it's so different from something like breast cancer. Like there's something you can do around it versus if I find out, yeah, I'm like high likelihood of getting dementia, I'm like, what would I do differently? Right? Like would I travel more? Like it's already in the plans, you know, like I don't know, would I quit my job? Probably not, right? I'm still gonna live life, but yeah, so it feels like a toss up for me because then I'm like, if I do have the information, then I'm just like, fuck, like waiting for the shoe to drop. Versus if I don't, right, this current state I'm in, like I don't know, maybe it's like, I don't know, like I get to be a little naive around it. Like I get to be, you know, just like whatever.
Ignorance is bliss. Like it's
Yeah.
true. Like, and even with the cancers that you can stop, like, you know, there's people that I've met like through my story that have messaged me saying, I've been toying around with getting it, but I haven't. And I'm like, and that's fine. Like, I'm not here to tell people that like you need to, like, or you should. Like, it's all personal. Like, and even every single doctor I've met, no doctor I have met this entire process has told me anything that like you need to do this or like you're stupid. Like, no, that's never been said. It's all been like, this is your choice. And thankfully it's your choice because you're not coming in with cancer. Like, right. Or like, you're not coming in with XYZ. Like these are preventative measures. So like you said, like when it is something that you can't necessarily like prevent, that does make it heavier because you're like, do I want that information? Like, would it matter to me? Some people, yes, you know, and like some people like, hell no, like I'm just gonna keep trucking along. And if it happens, it happens. Like it's all so personal. I will say there, like, so part of the process is I had to essentially become an established patient with oncology, like OB oncology, which was very scary. That was probably honestly one of my scariest appointments because you're essentially going into a place where there's people with cancer. You know, it's heartbreaking to go in there and you feel almost like privileged in this weird way, like going as a previvor, like seeing these people that are obviously going through it. And that doctor, I loved him. He was like, I'm never going to tell you or anybody like what they need to do with their body. He's like, but something I highly endorse to everyone with BRCA is a mastectomy. Like he was like, yeah, and it was the first time like that somebody just like came forward saying that because obviously genetic counselors, they go through like all your different options. I go to like a breast specialist center. They go through your options. And this was the first doctor that was literally like, listen, like this is a high chance. And like if you're a gambler, like go for it. You know, he was like, but I highly endorse like mastectomies. And so I left that appointment like, I'm gonna do that. And then eventually I will do like ovaries. They've come a long way with like what you can do preventatively for ovaries because ovarian cancer, like it has nicknames of being like a silent killer for a reason. Like you cannot like just see it easily or feel differently, really, like you're like, oh, I had cramps, like something just like super simple. Now instead of having to do ovary removal, they actually remove your fallopian tubes.
Oh.
So you still have your ovaries, so you still get your hormones, you don't have to go into early menopause. And it's because a lot of research and studies are showing that cancer, like ovarian cancer, may be starting in the fallopian tubes. And so it's like a preventative way to do it safely earlier. So like my personal plan, because again, type A Jade, would be to move forward with that, like in my late 30s. And then once I do actually go through menopause, then I would just get the ovaries removed as well.
Because, yeah, being you're a mom, right? And so I don't know if there's plans to have more kids, but to have that option, as you said, like, can't do that, right? If you don't have certain things. So,
No, right,
yeah.
right. And it's not in our plan, but I'm always like a never say never kind of gal. Like, I don't want to take that away from me just yet, even though like we're ready to not have any more kids. We love our MJ. But yeah, to take that away, that seems just heavy, like to do. And so I was thankful to hear even just of like the fallopian tube side. And I mean, speaking of children, like that's like another question I always get is like, so will your child have to get tested like for the gene? If he wants to, he can, right? Like I'll share with him that there's a chance because again, like that's something that happens. Like I have a 50-50 chance of passing that over to my child. But that's gonna be up to him, right? Like, and that's why you don't even have the option of getting tested, like as a child. Like that's his choice, like to find out if he wants it, like wants to know that information or not. And for people that want kids, like I'd love to call this out too. Like I know again, plenty of women that have known that they have this because of such a history and they got tested fairly early. And so before they even had children, they know they carry this gene. Unlike me, like I had a child without knowing. And so I know some people that actually have gone through IVF because you can actually get you can get it tested. So you can like move forward with embryos that do not have the genetic mutation. Yeah. So like there is science like backing us up on all fronts. I actually met her in the Previvor group. So one of the first people I met in this entire journey. She's actually a doctorate student, and I believe it was for oncology. Like her mom had very, very bad breast cancer. And so her and her husband, they did IVF and it actually had failed. Her story was very heartbreaking, but she was pregnant now. And she did that. She got them tested because she knew of the gene. So again, like there's all these things you can do with information. And I've always used the cheesiest term, like knowledge is power, but like literally like this friend I met, like she's going to have children that she knows does not have that genetic mutation, like thanks to science, because she had that information prior.
Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit about, like you said, this isn't gender specific. This can happen to men, women, right? Any gender essentially. And just to talk a little bit more in depth, like around the decision for you coming to have the double mastectomy, like that, I just think of like, right, a man, right? Like for them, their manhood is their penis. Like for a woman, I feel like essentially our womanhood is our breasts. I would say our vulva too. And right, we're talking about breasts and ovaries here, but like breasts are the our outward expression of femininity, right? Like I am woman, right? Like this shows why. Exactly. So that, right, like can you just talk about that? Like you obviously it's been a year, like you came to this decision. I know that wasn't easy, but for you, what is the impact of that? Like losing your breast or like taking that away? Like is there any mental capacity around that? Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, there is. Something I did too that I didn't talk about when I first found out about, actually, it was like right when I was finding out I might have BRCA, I started therapy again. I hadn't been in therapy for a long time. Not really by choice, just kind of by like laziness and being a mom and just like forgetting like that it was even a thing that I enjoyed before. And then I started and we just talked about it very like matter of factly. And so it was a male. So like, I was wondering how this would feel. Like, is it going to feel different? Cause it's not a woman that can like understand completely. Yeah. And I love that it was just like matter of factly. I feel like that's how my brain needed it, was just like, here's the facts, you know, like, and even one of the first fears you have is dying. Like that
Mhm.
is the fear of when you have anything wrong with you is dying. Like that is number one. It's not losing my breast. It's not even losing my ovaries. It was dying. And he just put it in very just good terms for me, you know, like talking about death and like what really that meant and like the reality of life, even without any genetic mutation. And just like that helped me so much. Like just like again, facts, like and being like, okay, and exercises to like train my brain to not just like live in it. I mean, I struggle with that still each day where I'm like, there's not one day that's gone by that I'm not thinking about my surgeries. So I'm oddly excited. You can ask my husband Miguel. He's like, it's so weird that you're like excited, but I'm like, I just don't want to think about it anymore. Like, I just like don't want to think about the how I'm gonna feel or the what ifs and what like I just want it done. And so unfortunately, with a change through my insurance, I couldn't see this therapist anymore. So come like the new year, I haven't been in therapy or like talking to the therapist I had anymore. And I know I need to for that very reason of just like how we talked about like how this feels like emotionally. I feel like I've been like compartmentalizing it where it's like I'm more so just focused on like pain I might have or, you know, just like stuff like that versus like the mental I'm going to go through when I look down and it doesn't look like me anymore. And I already had to go through that once. Like I already had one surgery and that was a lot to like see. I coined them Franken movies like when I first came out because I was just like, oh my God. Like I was like, look at them. Like there's like stitches everywhere. You know, like it was so traumatizing to see them like that. And then but as they healed, that's what mattered was like how I felt. Like it wasn't even like what they look like, even though good job to my surgeon, like the first time, like I was like, nice. Like, but I felt good. Like, and I was like, I just want to like have this done and just feel good. Like there's a very high chance, like probably 100% chance that I will have to have revision surgeries, like following my surgery. So this isn't necessarily like one and done. And ironically, I'm not even having one surgery. I have my mastectomy on the 8th and I have reconstruction on the 22nd. Wow. So that's its own mental game. The fact that I'm having 2 surgeries within like 2 weeks. But they do that because like I talked about, like the chances of skin dying, not even just nipple, but just skin in general, like dying is high with the mastectomy. They're taking out all that tissue. So they're doing that. My mastectomy, they're putting in expanders and then not to expand, but just as a placeholder. And then it's going to say like, hey, like, let's see how your skin's going. Like, see if there's any dying skin. Let's see how the nipple is. And if it's good, then we just do that reconstruction because we would hate to, I could, and there are people that have done this, like they do the mastectomy and reconstruction all at once. So one of my good friends, she's a breast cancer survivor, not genetically related. She got it done all at once and I was so jealous. Like I was like, oh, you just like wake up and it's like done. But again, like she is a cancer survivor, right? Like everyone's story is different. And my surgeon saying this is like the best way to go. Like that's the way I'm going to go. But like that end goal is just to make sure like that I'm just healthy. Like, and if it comes out that like these look different, like they'll look different. And I'm just going to have to like find more resources like to help myself with that, whether it's therapy or pre-vivor groups about like our reconstruction. And I'll just have to like kind of figure it out then. But it's like I like can't think about it all at the same time. It's like right now I'm like surgery, let's get it done, let's feel better. And then that like the look side will follow. But like I definitely need to get back in therapy. I will say that like that was super helpful. So that is on my like 2025 like list is to make sure I find a good therapist.
Yeah. Always love a plug for therapy in this show.
We
thank
love
you.
therapy.
Yeah, because that's like, I just think, you know, there's the physical component to this, there's a mental component, the emotional component, I mean, psychological, all of it, right? Like this is a major life change, like a major thing to go through. And so certainly like just as you have all of your support system right in the healthcare system, like therapists right alongside that to help with this mental emotional side of course like makes sense. So
Right.
Yeah, I think. And then yeah, like maybe finding somebody too that does understand like the feminine side of it, right? And like that emotional connection, like I don't know, just like female empowerment sort of thing. So maybe that's a man, maybe that's a woman. I think it could be either, but
I think I do want a woman next, and
yeah,
that is no shade to the therapist I had before. He was great. Like I feel like
yeah,
I almost needed that at that time, somebody that could be a little bit removed from
100%.
it and just be like, this is what it is. Let's talk about that. And then I feel like that post surgery and stuff, I think that's gonna be, yeah, like I need somebody that's a woman that can just again like understand what it is to have breasts, right? Like she doesn't need to understand what it's like to remove the breast, but like to understand that is part of your identity. And ironically, I had talked to my husband about this before too. Like I was never a fan of my breasts. Like I was never somebody that like wore like low cut. Like I would never showcase my breasts, and it was just I just never was. I never really liked what they looked like. Ironically, I thought about getting a boob job when I was younger. Like I just never liked them. And I almost feel like it's oddly helped me in this like weird way because it's not like, I mean, I can't imagine being a woman that was just like so in love like with what her breasts look like because that is like that's powerful. That's like so empowering to like love your body in its entirety. I feel like that would be a whole other like hill to climb if I was. But almost because I never was a fan of it, I'm kind of like, okay, like maybe I'll even like them more, right? Like, you know, like we're so far in science. And like again, the women that I saw that had mastectomies, I was like, my God, like they're beautiful. Like it looks great. Like sure, there's scars and stuff. But like they all look beautiful. So I'm like, hopefully I just come out liking them.
Yeah, find that silver lining, right?
Right. It's like, and everyone loves to like joke about a free boob job and stuff. And it's obviously that's so like moronic to say, but it's like,
Yeah.
again, like for someone that wasn't attached to their boobs, you're kind of like, maybe I will like what they look like when they come out. And if they don't, then we could talk about revisions and like stuff like that too. I am nervous for the removal part of my stomach, to be honest. Like that's because it's like I've already had a breast surgery and like it hurts and I know, but it's like I almost know what to expect with that. I'm very nervous for like the cut and everything that will happen in my stomach because it is very large. The cut that will happen down there. So that's a nerve-wracking one.
Yeah. Do you know like projected recovery for this?
So I actually just met with my surgeon, my like plastic surgeon on Tuesday, and I did ask that. Like I was like, when do people feel normal again? Like what does that look like? And he said roughly 6 weeks. So my second surgery is on the 22nd though. So it's like that 6 weeks doesn't really start till the 22nd until I'm like kind of done. And even looking back at my like previous surgery, I felt fairly good, like kind of fast. Obviously, that was way less invasive than what I'm going to be going through, but I feel like part of it's mentally and like just in the preparing. Like I feel like my type A is going to help just because like I've gotten so many resources from people of just like different things to like hold your drains. So like that's a big thing. Like you have drains that come out like on the sides with that fluid and blood come out of, and different ways to like have them held. Like there's sweaters and there's robes and there's like little drain holders that you can wear, different types of like ice packs. And so one of the ladies that I met at the conference like showed me this gel ice pack that she had so it can kind of like mold to you versus like chunks of ice like on you, just little shit like that, right? Where you're like to make it feel better, you know, and different exercises you can do when you can start doing those. Like whatever I can control, like I'm going to. So like whatever I can do in my healing to make sure that like I feel good and I feel great after that that 6 weeks, like I'm gonna do it.
Oh, this was so helpful, Jade. Like, seriously, thank you so much for coming on and just shedding all the knowledge and resources on us. I know you mentioned like you have some resources that you're going to send over. We'll link those in the show notes. Like, I truly believe like this is going to be such a resource, this whole episode, you know, for people just to have more awareness around this.
Yeah, thank you so much. It felt so good just to kind of get my whole story out. I've told little bits and pieces on social or like to different people, and I always post about different things to like be an advocate, especially for insurance policies. And especially I cannot stress that like as women, we cannot get screening until we are much older than I am, or not much older, but older than I am now. And it's
Yeah.
bullshit. We have to change that. We should get coverage for screening. So that will be some of the stuff that I send to, because we have to advocate for ourselves so we can find shit early. And insurance should have our back on that. So
100%. Yeah. To me, it makes no sense like why insurance wouldn't want to fall more under preventative, because, right, even if you're preventative, like there's still so much that goes into preventative, right? Like just as probably not as much, right? Of like if now shit, right now something is wrong. So now I'm now I'm being reactive, but yeah, there is and that's like functional medicine, like somatic work, like all these things that aren't covered by insurance. It's like, don't we want like people to be more healthy? Like I just, it blows my fucking mind.
And there's people that have all different types of thoughts, like of it, like that I'll keep to myself. But like, insurance can suck, but it can also rock. Like this is also me saying, like, make sure you have insurance. One of my good friends actually just posted today what her medical bills would be with her, like her beating cancer and it is over $500,000. Like that's like pulled from Blue Cross, and thankfully it's like 98 has been covered, like, so that's not out of pocket to her. But I stress how important it is to have insurance. Anytime I hear anybody that doesn't have insurance, it freaks me out, because I'm like, you could be in like the most massive amount of debt, because it does cost a lot for medical, like unless you have disposable cash, like a celebrity that can just like get what they want when they want. Like it's crazy. And actually, one last Angelina Jolie, she actually is a BRCA as well. So she got a mastectomy done in like 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
And she was like the first one, I feel like, a first celebrity to do that. And people were like, what?
And talk about it. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow. It is crazy. Yeah. And that's like, just to end this, like it can happen to anyone, right? Like
anyone.
Life is good until just like your experience, right? Like you get this call, like what the fuck? Like your whole life changes in a second. And just again, ignorance is bliss, but also knowledge is power. We'll use both of the cheesy terms here.
Maybe that's my next tattoo. Who knows?
There you go. Well, thank you again, Jade. And then lastly, please plug your social media so that if anybody wants to follow your journey, they can find you on Instagram or whichever you prefer.
Yeah. So I'm only on Instagram, Jade Nicole Ortiz. Please follow me, like add me. If you have questions, message me. Like I'm an open book. I love sharing all the details, all the things. And so please reach out, connect. I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you again so much, Jade, for coming on today.
Thanks, Rach.
Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you loved it, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you really fucking loved it, make sure to tag me on social media at @TheRachelMain. I'll see you next week.